Good?
Good. Niitsitapi Dance Theatre is a long time coming. I just didn't know it was going to happen this soon. I somehow felt a while ago that needed to happen from the community that I'm in. I always say that I'm born and raised as Niitsitapi from here, from southern Alberta. And I was born as an artist in the Mohawk, Ojibwe territory in Toronto area. And the amount of information that I've learned from that area and the artists from there, that it really inspired me that needs to happen here. I don't know how. The community is very small in terms of the arts community here, and Indigenous work to ever happen in southern Alberta is very rare. Something has to be done. Kind of reconnecting with Narcissus in that sense. And we were working on this project, Okotoks. When he passed, a lot of knowledge left with him that I didn't get to ask or quite understand yet.
I was always inspired by my husband's work. I can really feel his presence. It's hard, it's difficult for me, and I know those that were very close to Narcissus. He is around and giving us that little push. You can do it.
Growing up, I always heard of the Baker Massacre that happened in 1870 on the U.S. side in Montana. The story of the massacre it's really intense. When I was younger, I was still within that era where people didn't really talk much of the past. No one really talked about residential schools and what actually happened, the massacres that actually happened, or the loss. I had lunch with Narcissus and I asked him about that. And Holy Bear Woman, that I've heard that I may possibly have a bloodline link to one of the community members within the Healy tribe that was hit by Colonel Baker. And he told me the story.
And our ancestor, Justin, cherished myself. Her name was Niitsitapi, Holy Bear Woman. She had a daughter named Annie, who married Many Fingers. So that's your line. You come from Mike Blood, the first. I'm Charlie Blood, those two, her first sons. And then Fanny, Eagle Child. She married an Eagle Child. So we go back. In my case, we go back. There's Niitsitapi, Holy Bear Woman, Charlie Blood, my grandmother Annie, Bear Shinbone, my dad, Peter Bighead, and myself, Bighead. So it goes 5, and now I'm a grandma. For my family, it's 7 generations. You guys are probably within the 6th generation, you guys.
The massacre itself is quite heavy and quite dense. But I was more intrigued about her survival and learning the bloodline that myself and some of the other people within the Okotoks company are linked to.
Was the story goes that Malcolm Clark, there's 2 stories. Malcolm Clark had an affair with a man named Owl Child's wife. The other story is Malcolm Clark raped Owl Child's wife. Nevertheless, Owl Child had a beef with Malcolm Clark, you can imagine, right? And that night was when all hell broke loose, and that's when Owl Child killed Malcolm Clark. Phil Sheridan sent Major Eugene Baker and some troops out this way. And one of the things they were told was, if the lives and the property of the citizens of Montana are in jeopardy or whatever, then tell Baker to strike them and tell him to strike them hard. Owl Child was being harbored in Mountain Chief's camp. So they were looking for Mountain Chief's camp. Joe Kipp comes out, finds the spot. He scouts out Mountain Chief's camp, tells them I know where the camp is, so they get ready. They head out in the winter. Meanwhile, Mountain chiefs can't move downriver. In comes in Heavy Runner's camp. Heavy Runner comes running out of his camp, and he's holding up that paper. He's holding it up to them. He's trying to tell them, look, this says I'm a peaceful chief, you know. But basically, as soon as that bullet fired, he was the first one that was killed. Once the first bullet was fired, they just started shooting. There's stories that I heard were really pitiful stories of children running up to the river banks with their bare hands, trying to dig a hole for themselves that they could crawl in there to hide from the flying bullets. And the story of a little girl who took her little sister on her back. They couldn't take anything. They didn't have time to take anything. And she walked 2 days to the nearest camp. She was only like about 10 years old. Just think about the strength of those children and try our best to remember that we can be like that too as well.
There's something very profound about Holy Bear Woman surviving all of that as a child. It wasn't, ironically, a coincidence that she survived. She was geared with these tools at a very young age. Having that bloodline of fight, of resistance, really makes a lot of sense in my life with that story. Because there's so much knowledge attached to it. And to understand that, you can't just Google it. You really have to go back in like the old ways. You have to go back to the elders. You have to go to these land sites. You have to participate in certain things. If it's a part of that painting that already exists on that cloth, that you would paint it on a new cloth section that you would tie onto the stick that signifies or kind of relates to your relationship to this process that we've been in, whatever that might be. It could be just a line, it could be like dots, it could be a mermaid or a merman, it could be me, jerks.
Could be me.
Or could be things are done a bit differently in terms of my work. It has its own process, but that process always stems back from the culture. So it's always looking at those surrounding things, so that I'm not trying to create a different theater or a different dance something or a different arts something. That it stems back to those two things, the artist but the culture that I come from. It's a new form and a new age way of preserving that oral history of passing down information. And as artists, we have the ability to play as children with those stories and finding a new way how to contain the oral culture. But the way we work stems back to what the culture has preserved thousands of years from me up to today, and where that can go tomorrow.
Me and Justin had a discussion a while back, and he was talking about the residency. I didn't really get a lot of info about it yet, but just like, he wanted me to contribute as a composer.
I've just graduated school and I was looking for work, and I said yes because I wanted to explore music and art culture and learn more about that. And I thought that this would be a good avenue to start that. And it's theater, and I love doing theater.
Just being able to create music, and it was for the Baker Massacre. So I thought, wow, this would be a great opportunity.
So after many, many projects with Justin, what keeps you coming back to working with him?
I don't know.
After many projects working with Justin, I think we work really well together.
Yeah, it's fun. I like it. You have to make yourself, put yourself there, and I like to smile, so it's hard to say you can't smile.
Being a part of Okotoks with Justin, especially working in the past, has really been a privilege, considering the fact that my heritage is white immigrants into Canada. It's necessary for the truth and reconciliation.
Having non-Blackfoot, non-Indigenous, non-Native people a part of my processes is that it goes back to that human thing. That, yeah, it is our culture. It's not a religion. There's a difference between a religion and a culture. It's to understand and show that we are human, that we are all people. We are all humans.
What was the scariest part?
Singing that song right when they asked me to, because I have so many songs in my head.
I think it's important for me and other artists to bring art. Like, art's already prevalent here, but I mean, like, Indigenous art, it's not really big here, and I think that's important. So I see myself staying here, but I mean, like, I see myself going other places too, and bringing back what I learned to my community. And but it is needed here. There has to be an Indigenous art scene here, especially music-wise too, I think.
You know how many people I talk to and I say I'm doing this show about the Baker Massacre. Every single person looks at me with the same blank look. No response. They don't know.
Right.
No, like, on average, no white person knows about the Baker Massacre that happened to the people here. It's local history.
We're here. We're not dying out. Not dying out. We're not extinct, I guess.
I keep coming back because I'm inspired by the people that are performing and the story that they're telling, like Okotoks and Baker Massacre. That's a history in our legends of who we are, what makes us who we are. And I think as the young people are searching for answers to their questions, they are in this storied landscape that tells a lot about who we are.
I think I'm really glad that I came today because I needed to be here to be reminded of who I am and where I come from. We come from very strong people. I'm just really grateful that I had an ancestor who just kept walking that day and never gave up.